Oh, sorry. Okay. My name is Stacey Larkins, and my film is What's the Mark?
And there's so much. It's like it's gorgeous and it's says a lot and it yeah, I just love everything about it. What kind of how did you get started with the idea?
Um, the main, I think the way I got started was basically with Trump and how really, if I think about it, how much influence, with the tweeting and saying so much and how it influenced so much in a negative way. And so from that, I started thinking about how much media in general can influence public opinion. I mean, think about how much you're watching television, how much you're on your phone with social media and all these different outlets, and how much it can influence your opinion and public opinion in a negative way. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I feel like it's almost like we're being pickled by this apparatus of media. Like kind of we're basted in these thoughts that aren't our own, right?
Yes. Yes. And how people, are really influenced by it. And even in some things that just don't make sense at all, and people just continue to follow. It's been very, it's an interesting years. I'll say that.
Yes, it has, and continues to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you go about kind of obtaining all the imagery and piecing that all together? What was that process like?
I think it's still a lot. There's some things I recall. I did a lot of research, just doing research on internet and things. It's kind of hard when people ask you go back on the process. You kind of forget like what was the process on that. Can you repeat the question again?
Like kind of like I remember from psych classes the studies on the dolls, and like with that, what kind of brought that to mind in terms of then I love how it transitions from like the doll choice to like angel food cake, and like kind of the like stream of consciousness of these thoughts that was pieced together. Like how did that kind of all
Yeah, well, because I think
happen?
at such a young age, how influenced, I mean, as children, how we're influenced and how much we know subconsciously, you're not thinking about it, how much children can look at TV and be influenced by, psychologically influenced by that. So I did take the doll test and I inserted that in there just to show right from a young age how we're kind of just can be brainwashed a little bit and what's being projected at us. Um, yeah.
And then the angel food cake, where did that come from?
Oh, there's it's kind of like sometimes you look at things where white is always pure and everything's good and black is always bad. So the angel food cake, it was just a reference to, that being angelic, the white thing is the best
Yeah,
thing. And,
I've thought about that for years, like why and how that originated, like
right.
where did that all come from? Obviously a lot of it was deliberate parts of white supremacy, right? And then you try to kind of like, was it all that? Was there ever like is it because like the night was scary for people before electricity? Like, so like, or does it have anything to do with anything? Or is it just like all white supremacist
Right now.
propaganda?
No, I hear you saying it just seems like there are a lot of references to dark and black being evil and black hat. And that's a negative thing. And so, and that's projected, all the time, the chocolate food cake, that's the devil's food cake. So just sort of how that's implanted in you, from a very young age.
I
Yeah.
remember being in a Baskin Robbins as a kid and ordering Rocky Road, and this old man behind me was like, "That's the devil's ice cream." And I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "You need to get a grip, old man,"
Right.
But yes. And did you do the music, the score for it?
I did, actually. I did. Yes, I wrote. There was like a song in there, the Garbani song. I wrote that. Yes, I did all the music for it. Yeah.
It's very like it's perfect and beautiful. Like I just really love this film. So
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And how, so if you want to talk a little bit about kind of how your musical background influences your filmmaking, maybe, if that's a thing you have in mind.
Um, would I say it yeah, it actually does. There are a lot of similarities with that people don't really recognize with being a musician or music or writing music to film. And I even related music to even acting, how you musically phrase something and how someone can act something in a way that's similar to musical phrasing. And so there's a lot of I think being a musician kind of gives me a different perspective on making films. I don't know. It's definitely it influences my filmmaking. Just I don't know how much I can articulate that.
Do you do the editing?
I do everything. I do pretty much everything.
I think that's where the connection is, right?
Yeah.
Like the pacing, the rhythm, the inflection, the tone.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Rhythm is very important. So if you notice, it's extremely fast paced. And I meant to, I wanted to have a rhythmic tone to the film as music. Also, I edited it in a way very quickly because it's almost like, when you're watching TV, you're not a lot of times thinking about what you're taking in. It's just everything's just shot at you in different directions when you don't think about it. So I tried to, in this film, emulate that idea. Yeah.
I think it comes across well, but I think like when I saw it, I was like, oh, she's a musician. I think she's editing too, and it's like it's all coming together kind of in this exploration.